Hi, I'm Jody Beck. I am back with you to show you a stack and slash method that is a non-traditional. We're going to make the kite block today, and I'm going to start by showing you a few tips and hints on your sewing machine to make your life a little easier. A lot of times we always hear to do a scant quarter inch. It's like, what is a scant quarter inch? I finally figured it out. This little tool I've had since I was in probably junior high. We had to have this for sewing class. The little 6-inch ruler with a slider we use for hemming pants. You're going to take your needle down through the middle, and it'll wiggle in here. You're going to line it up along the right side of the ruler, and you're going to take a Dr. Scholl's mole foam pad, not the mole skin, but the mole foam pad. And you're going to cut it into sections. So it's literally what you use for your feet. And then you cut them into wedges, like 1/2 inch, but I could just cut it in half and then cut them into sections. You're going to line it up alongside of the ruler, and you're set to go. That will give you this piece right here of metal will give you a scant quarter inch. I discovered that teaching a sewing class recently. This is also something that some people call leaders. I call them tails. I learned this when I first started quilting many moons ago. And we're going to put this in the machine and sew through it. And we use these at the beginning and the end. And what it does is it helps to alleviate all the threads on the back of your quilt that you don't have to trim off later, and it makes sure your machine's working well. Now to the stack and slash. We're going to take our stack of fabric. You're going to take a collection of fabrics just like this, and it can be batiks, it can be reds and whites, can be black and whites, can be Christmas fabrics, and you're looking for true contrast, lights, darks, lights, darks, lights, darks. These are almost too close together. This one would probably be a better setup where I've got definite contrast, and you want contrast from the bottom and the top of the pile too, so that these will be next to each other. So you're looking for a set. Just kind of put your colors together, figure out how many you need in a stack, and then stack them up exactly on top of each other. And I pin them together and usually stagger them so that I've got stacks ready to go for whenever I've got time to sew. These are already labeled with the block design that they're going to be made. And this particular one right here is the kite block. It's the thing I teach all my new students when we start out. It doesn't matter which pattern you choose. I always start with a kite block if it's in the pattern. Makes it easier. You're going to take your stack of fabrics. You're going to label them, number them down through the stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many, in order in the upper left-hand corner. You're going to take your ruler down the middle, twist a little, and I'm looking for roughly 2 inches, 2.5 inches from each of these corners. I don't measure anything. Only the Jazzy Jewels is measured. The rest of them are not. And I like to stand up, so excuse me while I stand to cut through this. Just very easily, you're going to cut through the stack. You're going to move the top fabric from the non-numbered side to the bottom. You never move your numbers out of order. They're always in order. Then I like to fan my fabrics. And that way, it keeps me from picking up 2 at a time. If you ever pick up 2 at a time and you sew them together, 2 to 1, you'll be ripping because everything has to go back in order. So you're going to take these right over left, just like you normally would to sew them. You're going to line them up and keep them lined up along the edge, the raw edges, the cut edges together, and you're looking for the V right here. This little V right here, this notch, that will be where your 1/4 inch seam starts, roughly. 1/4 inch, scant 1/4 inch. And we're going to sew these through. I like my purple thing. If you don't have a purple thing, they're absolutely wonderful. Your local quilt shop will have them. They're not at Joann's or any of the other big box stores. It has a point on the end which is angled, which makes it really nice for keeping it lined up along the pad, and the 1/4 inch on the end so you can always check your seams. And you can use either end. You take the next 2 and sew them together with the point. You're just looking for that dog ear up there. Your dog ears are your friends on this quilt. And I'm not watching the needle. I am watching my pad and keeping the fabrics lined up right alongside the pad. This only takes a couple of minutes to do that whole seam of the, I've got 7 blocks here. I'm actually making a new sample for the perfect 7, which is the row by row behind me with one more row of blocks. If you notice, I also lift my presser foot. I don't just shove the fabrics in there. I lift the presser foot and feed them through. You'll notice I also do not pull the fabrics. They're on a bias. You want to make sure you're not pulling them because that will stretch them out. You just let the machine feed them through. And then I'm going to go back and get my tail because I don't have a pile. I usually have a pile of them next to me, but if you don't, you just take the one you just sewed through, you run it through, leave it in the machine, and clip behind it. And that's really important to do as you sew. I've actually had mechanics when I've been teaching come in and tell me, that's true, leave it this way all the time. Now it's time to iron these, and I just want to show you really quick, the easiest way to do this is to leave them chained together and connected. Sorry. And you're going to press them. You always press your seams first. Do not touch your stickers if you can help it because they'll stick. They will, the gum on the back will stick to the fabrics. You're going to heat set it and then just use the edge of your iron to press these open. And I usually do whatever I can get done on my ironing board, my ironing pad. I have a makeshift pad today because I'm in the middle of moving long distance again, and I've packed everything. So then I clip them apart and I stack them. That's why I start with 7. I don't start with number 1. I start with 7, do 6, and then I line them up so they're perfectly square on top of each other, set them aside, and go on down the numbers till I get to number 1. Makes life a whole lot easier than having a mess of a pile of blocks trying to figure it out later. Aren't they beautiful? I love these fabrics. It's going to be a gorgeous quilt. The other thing you'll want to make sure that you do is as you're pressing these, make sure that your seams are open. It will be critical to making sure that these stay flat and that they're completely opened. Oh, and you'll see here, you'll see here that I moved this up a little too high, and so you never worry about this bottom end, it's always the very beginning, but this, not bad. Usually I can get them so they're dead on and they're just perfectly straight at the top. That's the goal. Okay, back to the cutting mat. This time you're going to cut it again, and with a non-traditional stack and slash, you'll cut, shuffle sew, you'll stack slash shuffle sew, stack slash shuffle sew as many times as you want to. In this particular design, we're going to go down the middle, the opposite direction we did before. You're going to twist a little, and we're looking for the kites in the corner. The kites that we used to fly as children. Do you see them? I hope so. And this can get a little difficult going through the middle, so if you don't have enough strength, just take your time, rock through there. There you go. And we're going to take the top 2 fabrics from the non-numbered side and put them on the bottom of that side. Now, if you have more than 4 fabrics in a stack, you can move more than 2. I could move 3 if I wanted to. Okay? But as you can see, I don't like this because I've got 2 fabrics that are very similar. If this was a true red, black, red, or I'm going to say red, white, red, white, red, white, you would want to move a 3rd one down. The 3rd one would actually give you this look where you've got opposites each other, which is pretty cool. If you want to test it and check it, feel free to go through the stack and check and see how you're looking. If you've got 3 colors in there, it changes everything also. And you're not going to get the whole stack to be perfect. You just want to see if it looks okay. And it looks good to me. Now we're going to take them back to the sewing machine and we're going to do right over left again. And we're going to use the dog ear at the top. Right here. I'm not matching the seams in the middle. Don't care where they land. Doesn't matter. But I'm using this dog ear up here, and that's where my 1/4 inch seam will start, where that V is. Also, if you notice, the seams are pressed towards the bottom. That's because we pressed them towards the numbered side. So that's why I had you press to the numbers. If you forget, don't worry about it. You're just going to have to keep the seams up. And then we're going to sew all these through, just like we did the last set. And I leave my tail in, just push it out to the side a little bit. And what it does is it keeps you from having a nest when you start. Okay, at this point, I usually don't even press them. Once I get the blocks done, I just stack them up, take the numbers off, put them on the next set, and just leave them this way. And then when I watch a ball game with my husband, that's when I will press them. I'll have 100 blocks. I'll sit and press all at once. So that's the beauty of it. You don't have to sit here and press them all, but you will see that they turn out beautiful. Aren't they beautiful? And then we're going to square them up, and I'm actually going to show you real quick how to do that too in just a minute. At this point, you can set them aside, press them later. You can make as many of these as you want to. When I first learned this block, we did a ton of them. And this particular kite, this is the kite block. It is featured in the Sunshine and Rain Showers. It's one of the 12 designs in there. It's featured in the Starry Wonder Table Topper, the Starry Wonder placemats. It's also in the Beginning and the Asian Lantern. It is also the centerpiece of the Shining Stars. And if Dan can get a close-up of that, you will see in the middle it forms stars and balls. Stars and balls. This is also the kite block, just the kite block by itself. And you can also see and hear the same thing, where it does stars and balls. Sometimes you'll see the stars, sometimes you'll see the balls. And anytime there's a pattern with 2 particular quilts on it, that means that there's two designs in there, 2 quilts in there. This one, I did a secondary design of the pinwheel behind the stars. So it's the stars, balls, and then a pinwheel secondary effect, which is pretty cool. The dancing stars and pinwheels is the kite block with 1 more cut. And what you would do is you would take your blocks, you would restack them again in order, just like this, and you would do a 3rd cut anywhere. You could go this way, you could go this way, and a lot of my students actually accidentally, that's how we discovered this particular block. Actually, I had a vision for this one, I think. And when you put this together, you end up with pinwheel, like windmill blades, and the star points. So when you set them together, you can put together a few of one or the other. Jazzy Jewels is the kite block to the next degree, next level of kite block. It's 2 cuts one direction, 2 cuts another direction, and it's a 9 patch. So it's basically 9 sections, but you don't cut it all up at once. The beauty of this non-traditional stack and slash is that it's mobile. You can take this and you can do half of it, put it away, and come back and do it at another time. You don't have to, like a traditional one, you have to sew it all back together before you can stop. Or if the cat gets in it, you've got a mess everywhere. So it's a whole lot easier. The Windy Day looks like a lot of other traditional designs and patterns, and you buy this ruler and make it, and you buy this ruler, you buy this book. What I did with this is my students discovered this. If they miscut the kite, what they got was this. And I went, oh, that's cool. That's a whole new design. So it's super fun. Again, there's no ruler, you don't have to measure anything, you just cut it. But it's taking the ruler and just doing the identical cut to the first one, you do it the second time. So there's lots of options there. Check out all my patterns. There's a variety of sizes, all different options. Go to jodysgemsquilting.com. That's J-O-D-Y-S as in Sam, J-E-M-S as in Sam, quilting.com. Have a great day. God bless you. Bye.